Hello, welcome to What Am I Doing, the Dungeons & Dragons podcast where one experienced dungeon master and one failed scriptwriter discuss D&D topics at incredible speed, apparently. My name is Kinsey, and my ridiculously inadequate pod partner is McCaffery. Lewis, hello.
Hello, Connor. That was very pleasurable to watch.
This is my third attempt.
Yep.
I can hear the names laughing.
Yep.
I was just trying to get it done.
I hope
like
you can
most things in life.
Feel the judgment radiating from me.
Out.
In, out, shake it all
Apologise later. Yeah, do that.
I'm sorry.
Do that, okay. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, there we go. So, how's your week been?
It's been alright. It's been very busy. Lots of work, D&D, not much life. How about you?
Oh, that's really fucking sad.
That sums up my week pretty much most weeks.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, how about you?
How's
How's your week been?
Yeah, the ever scheduled life continues.
The continuous
for us all. It's been alright.
Yeah.
We had a good season finale.
We did.
Yeah. Don't know why it was a season finale, because we just went straight into the next.
Well,
There
exactly.
wasn't a gap or.
I mean, it's exactly what Marvel did after Endgame. So,
yes.
And if they made money off it, hey.
If they can do it, we can do it.
Exactly.
Are they failing? Yes. Are we failing?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I like the actual. There was no planning, but we did
I mean,
that.
there's never any planning. Let's be honest.
No, that's true. All right. Well, I actually have a kind of funny bit to put us into the next section.
See, no planning.
No planning. But can you guess, possibly, by looking at my screen, what it might be for this week's topic?
I've got glasses on, I still can't read the screen.
I actually zoomed out and made that
perfect.
for the bit, yeah. It's difficult.
I've no idea. I'm going to guess merchants.
Oh my god.
No, you...
No, I'm fucking with you now.
Oh.
It's Planes of Existence. Let's get to it! So, today's episode is on planes. Of course, we are not talking about Boeing planes because they don't have the ability to successfully provide a service to a group of travellers. We are talking about Planes of Existence.
Oh
Lewis.
my god. Hello.
I have the riddle.
No.
From
Oh,
last
okay.
week's. Yeah,
Okay.
you're disappointed now. You're actually excited.
The one that's written on your phone.
The Anglo-Saxon riddle. Yeah, I've
beautiful.
got it. I've got it on my computer, so I can actually.
I'm ready.
Are you ready? I've got 4 dilly-dandies, 4 stick-standies, 2 crookers, 2 lookers, and a wigwag. What am I, and what am I doing?
I have no idea. I don't know what any of that is or means.
Ignore the first bit, the dilly-dandies. 4 stick-standies.
Stick-standies. I don't know. I mean, if they're
Standies?
are these just sticks that are sentient, standing on their own, or are they 4 chair legs that combine to make a chair?
You're close. Could be. 2 lookers.
Oh, look at onlookers or peeping toms, because this
is the riddle. It's a riddle. There's no clues. It's just one. That is the clue.
Okay, you're 2 peeping toms that
Yes.
are watching you gently caress a chair. The 4 sticks.
Yeah.
With your butt cheeks.
The one time you actually tried to answer the question, you actually correct scenario.
Yep.
And it is so wrong.
Oh, okay.
So wrong. I've just blown everyone's eardrums by shouting that back.
I mean, what is the right answer?
It's a cow. I don't know what the dilly-dandies are.
I don't know what any of that means.
Udders. Dilly-dandies.
Oh my god.
Stick-standies, legs. These are arms. 2 crookers, 2 lookers, and a wigwag. I'm guessing the wigwag is the tail.
You should know. This is your riddle.
Well, no, I know the riddle, but
this is horrible.
Yeah, that is a genuine Anglo-Saxon children's riddle.
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in us all.
Disappointed in Anglo-Saxons.
Yeah. Come
Okay.
on, get it right.
Anyway, right, let's get to the real questions. Material planes. Well, the material plane is ours, I suppose. The regular D&D plane.
Exactly.
Yes. How do planes work in D&D?
So there are obviously, like I said, there are different planes that you can travel to or that you can exist in. For example, I think it's the ethereal plane or something like that where gods exist. And I know some obviously you can pass freely, or at least pass through with ease, like the astral plane, how most Githyanki's reside up there, and they can travel to the material plane and back and things like that.
Right.
They're just kind of, rather than thinking of them as like parallel dimensions, I kind of envisage them in my games as almost just like tiers to the current dimension, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So how you've got like different planes of hell, and then you've got the astral plane that's kind of what I imagine as like the heavens or kind of thing, because it's not literally the heavens, but it's in the sky, that kind of thing. It's just kind of layers on top of your existing universe. That's how I kind of envisage it.
It's hard to comprehend in a podcast with idiots.
Well, yeah,
but
it is.
I think that's a pretty good analogy of
it's
how to quite somewhat smoothly incorporate it into your game.
Exactly, yeah. It's rather than thinking of them as like, especially for people that are new to Dungeons and Dragons, whether it's a player or a DM, rather than thinking of them as different universes, all these different planes kind of come up to make your D&D universe as a whole. So I find it easier thinking of it like that rather than separate universes, because then I think then you're getting into the territory of like, parallel Earths and that kind of thing, or parallel Fey rooms.
All right, well, I did actually do some research.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a really boring, sorry, listeners. Listeners, we learned from our feedback, we don't say listener anymore.
We know there's two of you.
Yeah, listeners. Listeners. They, them.
Listen up, listeners.
I've got a bit of info here about the material planes.
Okay.
So actually quite knowledgeable.
Okay.
And this is Quadratic Wizard, who wrote this on the RP Exchange website. And this is actually
research.
Yes, I have. And this is actually a breakdown from the player's handbook, and he has tried to simplify that for us.
Perfect.
So, do you want to guess how many planes there are?
I know there's a lot. I'm going to guess about 32.
There's actually more than that.
Oh, okay.
There's over 100.
Oh.
Over 100.
What am I'm thinking of something
I'll
else,
give you the ones that are in the player's handbook.
Okay.
Because obviously they want you to buy into the other bits to make the others exist.
Yeah.
So we have the material plane, the one we play D&D on.
Yep.
Depending on your worldview, you can travel to alternate parallel material planes or alternate worlds within the same material plane. There's the Feywild, an alternate material realm where fairies live, and the Shadowfell, a dark and twisted version of our world. You have the inner planes, which are made of pure energy, so the four elements. You also have within that the positive and negative planes. This just must be really uncomfortable for the viewers. I'm just staring back at them, but I'm actually looking at the info. Yeah, they're quite interesting. They comprise the source of all life energy as well as the anti-life energy. So that those planes are what animates undead.
Oh, okay.
So it's not just it doesn't just exist.
Yeah.
There's a world somewhere. There's a plane there to create what you do.
Yeah. So I mean,
for that magic to exist.
Yeah, it's similar how certain gods that allow you to cast magic through them, like Mistro, who controls the weave. Anyone that could
imagine that as a realm weave.
Yeah.
A world like it exists because of that. I know I'm rambling on now, but we have the outer planes, the realms where the gods reside. There are 16 major outer planes, and they're only the major ones. We also have the 9-layered hells, the realms where the good deities live, outside of gods. Lesser known outer planes.
Yeah.
We have transitive planes, which allow you to travel between planes. The astral plane. We have the ethereal plane. We have demi-planes. And then small pocket planes, which are purely, and I thought this one was quite good to explain it, which are created by wizards. So when wizards in their magic create portals and planes
like
to
pocket
things,
universes kind of thing.
that's what that is. Yeah, and they're classed as small pocket planes, plane pockets.
Cool.
Yeah, and then the far realm, which is apparently a truly alien landscape beyond the edge of time and space.
Oh,
so sorry for making it very boring and like literal and to detail, but interesting to know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like things like the different planes and like the different 9 layers of hell. These are the kinds of topics that require the detail in D&D. Like a lot of it, you can make it up as you go along, or you can create your own. But I feel like this is one of the ones. Even like gods, you can make your own up and have your own like set of followers that worship a certain deity. But I feel like for planes, it's really good to make them as detailed and not rule heavy, but rule like inclusive kind of thing as possible, because it makes it more interesting, I think, for players.
We'll get into it with the other questions, but I haven't put rules on there, but that's quite interesting. Because I think, for someone who is always saying, don't do rules, for world building, you need rules to make worlds.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're going to transport people to different places, for them to feel different, for it to feel like it's worth you putting the effort in of creating it, and for them putting the effort in and playing your sessions, or vice versa, if you're the player, then those rules are there, so you can go, this felt very different to that, this was separate, things happen differently here, and I really like that. I'm not so much a fan of this is a challenge. It gives you lots of parameters to play with.
Exactly. I feel like as well it opens up for unique quests. Like, just imagine a necromancer in your party or something that consistently raises the dead, but they suddenly one day their spell doesn't work, and then they have to investigate why and potentially go to that plane to try and figure out, poke the dead skeletons, why aren't you working, kind of thing.
Definitely. I mean, we play homebrew campaigns mostly, but the fact that there are these worlds here for you to use, make the most of it. Make the most 100%. Of it, even if it's a homebrew. The work's done for you. Yeah, use those worlds if it means you can do a session there and just change it up a little bit. Keep people on their toes. All right. So here we go. The next question. So, how can DMs incorporate planes into the world of Dungeons and Dragons?
So obviously there are a couple of obvious ways, the obvious ones being the 9 layers of hell. That's an easy one. If you had a campaign that was around about devils and demons, even the Blood War, something like that, it's obvious or easy to be able to incorporate it that way. Whether it's devils were transitioning over to the material plane and you had to stop them, or even if it was Githyanki that were travelling from the astral plane. But like we said, even if certain types of... You could even do certain types of spells like necromancy ones, or the ones that allow you to travel between dimensions or things like that. If that magic suddenly stopped working and you had to find the source of it, which would be in these other planes, and correct that in some way, I feel like that would be cool. Or even especially, you could have something like you were travelling between planes and something went wrong between that, or in between that, and you got sent, instead of going to hell, you got sent to the ethereal plane or the astral plane, and have it mixed up a little bit.
There's a lot of ways of doing it. I mean, it's more the question of how can you not do it.
Well, exactly.
And ironically, despite doing all my info, my research from that one guy on RPG, I haven't looked into the Vivekna, the new module coming out, but we do know that does cross lots of planes and locations in order to defeat hexes, I suppose, like artifacts, or in some way to kind of build yourself up to fighting Vecna. So it's the same concept there. That's quite an easy one where kind of like bait and lure, getting people to get to a point, but they've got to go through all of these hurdles first.
Exactly, yeah.
That's a good excuse to make you go to places and be challenged by different things,
Yeah, definitely. Even with your characters, you could have it in their backstories as well. It's like in the West Marches server we ran, we had a number of characters that originated from the Feywild, or some... I don't think we ever had a Githyanki character, but they may have came from the astral plane. Yeah, things like that.
Yeah, it's good if you can make a lot of it. They don't need to be. That's another thing, really. That they don't need to be physically there in sessions if they've come from places like that. Just that bit of backstory helps flesh out that the idea of its existence exists in your world that you're playing, you've written or you're a part of, and that in itself makes it feel big.
Exactly, yeah. I think if you are going to use different planes as a place people can go, I'd make sure that you have enough detail and preparation for it, because if you're just going to say to your players, oh yeah, you go through this door and you're in the ethereal plane, you do a quest and then you go back and it's like, oh well, that was a bit underwhelming. Make use of how effective it can be, I'd say.
Yep. All right, next question. Are they important to build a world? Do you need other places? I know we've just bigged them up a bit, but do you need them for your sessions to thrive?
No, I wouldn't say so.
And even as a player, you might say you might be a satyr and you've come from the Feywild, and like we just said, it's nice to know that you could have that background. doesn't necessarily always need to be implemented to fulfill your character's needs.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's no harm and there's nothing wrong with including it, but I'd say it's not overly important. I think it's more important that if you're doing it, you do it right, rather than
commit.
Exactly. I mean, look at the Fandelver campaign that we ran, for example. Like, that's obviously it's an intro level campaign. It's very fun. It's easy to plan, easy to play, and that makes little to no references to any other planes. It's you don't need it for a good session, but I think if you want to make your campaign stand out as something, especially if it's homebrew, as something that is clearly planned out, clearly thought about, there's loads of things to think about, then I think using different planes, that's when it's overly beneficial.
Yeah.
But I don't think you need them.
They can give when they need to give.
Yeah.
Some players aren't fussed.
No, exactly.
They're happy to just crack on with what's at hand, and that's great because then you don't have to do all this extra stuff or have answers you think they're just going to throw at you out of nowhere. But sometimes it's good to have that for yourself and you know it. Not so just in case they ask, but for your sake of mind, your world is a bit more fleshed out and you can implement more as you go along, and then they're surprised that you've kind of got this backup research you've done and start the foundations.
Yeah, if a DM's able to describe something, even going back to the spells like the necromancy ones again, that if you have a necromancer in your party and they cast a spell that's 9th level, for example, and you as a DM explain with a level of detail about how they're able to cast a spell, where the magic comes from, then I just think things like that it's the detail that players will remember and think like, damn, this guy actually planned this out. Like they weren't just winging it and they knew what they were doing. And that's a good thing for players to think on their own, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and a big level of respect from player to DM.
Yeah,
I think. Okay, now the material plane is the most common setting for D&D adventures. But do you have a plane that you love to set a homebrew in?
I
thought this would be a tough one.
Yeah, I think the Shadowfell would be a very cool one to originate or have a campaign in. Whether you linked it to Shah, the goddess, or if it's like in the D&D movie, the more recent one, I believe that the Red Wizards or Red Witches that they were talking about, and I can't remember the name of the wizard, but they're referencing Baldur's Gate as well. I'm pretty sure he originated from the Shadowfell, and it'd be cool to have a campaign in that setting, I think, because it'd be similar to your Black Shores one, where it's kind of a very evil, just dark themed campaign.
Yeah.
But even things like the Curse of Strahd, I think you'd class that as another realm because it's in. I can't remember what the land's called.
Brovia.
Yeah, but that is one place amongst many, I think, in this kind of other dimension or other plane, and that's a cool campaign that's kind of in a different plane. Yeah,
not kind of airy fairy,
exactly,
like fantasy. There's a bit more grit.
Exactly.
Bit gritty drama, gritty ITV drama.
Nitty gritty.
Hanky panky. Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
Back.
Maybe Tom Hanks is Strahd. Maybe.
Wouldn't surprise me at all. What's his mate, the idiot? The strong idiot guy.
Who's?
Strahd's, not Tom Hanks. I don't even Tom Hanks has friends.
I can't remember his name, but are you talking about the one with the
big, like...
The bald one that has a hand missing?
Yeah, sure,
Yeah. I mean, he's in...
That's Tom Hanks.
That's Tom Hanks, yeah.
That's got Tom Hanks
I can't remember
all
his
over
name,
his stump.
Poor Tom
and
Hanks.
if you're listening...
I'm sorry, Tom Hanks.
Okay, yeah, well, I'll answer...
Okay. Yeah. What about you?
Oh, thank you. I'd love to give Spelljammer a go. I don't know why I had to read that. I should know what I think. I think it'd be cool.
You leant back in your chairs, though. I was going to disagree with you.
I needed a pipe.
Yeah, you just.
I actually went to do a pipe move. You know, the pipe move where you instantly go. I was waiting for you to ask me. I've got wisdom to share.
Yeah, exactly. I felt like I should respond with, you know what, you're onto something.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, this is where the campaign's going. Because I've only heard bad stuff about the Spelljammer module.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of it being an actual plane. I like the idea, like you just said with the Shadowfell, something that's slightly out there to what we're used to playing all the time, and you kind of have to incorporate new ways of going about things.
Yeah.
You might, as a person, as your character, have to play differently because of the type of people and thing. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
and there are different rules, as we said earlier. So I think space would be
that would be a cool
good
one.
Frontier. Yes, which also Tom Hanks knows a lot about. He does.
I'm going to assume he does.
He
I'll
does.
agree with you
He
on
does. He does lots of. He does a couple of podcasts on it.
Yeah. Tell you what would be cool as well. Again, going back to the Hells, doing a full campaign set in the 9 Hells. Like, let's say if you started
go through each round.
Especially if you started it as a group of adventurers that were tied into a contract or died and sent to the 9 Hells, but something went wrong and you maintained all level of yourself, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you started at level 1, and the whole goal was escape while surviving, and it lasted until like level 12. That would be a cool
like
one.
Escape from New York or Battle Royale.
Yeah. Where we dropping, boys? We're dropping in Avernus.
I'm dropping outside Aldi on Market Street, Manchester.
I mean, that is basically the second.
If you can drop, if you can drop there, you're near the end.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much.
If you can avoid the sweet corn sellers and the Michael Jackson impressions, then you're almost home.
Where is that? Would that be your hell?
That'd
be the last layer, the last round.
Sweet corn and Michael Jackson.
Beautiful. And it is him. That's how you know it's real. Okay, so today's adventure is sadly coming to a close. We are back again next week with a topic. Did you notice that Lewis got slightly higher in pitch throughout the podcast? Or am I just making him paranoid?
It's you fondling my knees. You accidentally fondled my balls a few times.
And as always, thank you for tuning in. And if you'd like to join in on the D&D action, then follow us on Instagram and TikTok at WhatAmID&D, or check out the link in our bio to our Discord server. I've been Lewis McCaffery.
I've been Connor Kinsey.
I'm Connor Kinsey. Good day.
Goodbye.